Kind of a crazy thing to have to do, right? Stage your own death.
Tonight on an all-new 2020, a few of our favorite stings. We're taking you undercover inside a murder-for-hire plot like you've never seen before.
What does she think? She can get a hitman like she's ordering a pizza?
Behind bars, charged with a gruesome murder, she hires a killer to get rid of the only witness. But it's all staged, a sting to trap her. From the plan going down,
I was going to show you pictures so you know that it's done,
to the body going down in the Florida swamps.
What could possibly cause this woman to want you dead so badly?
And full circle when she gets the killer photos as proof. Picture perfect. Plus, don't look now, but they're about to be caught in hidden camera stings. First, a man who claims to be blind, but has no trouble hitting the road or the waves.
So you don't drive at all, is that right?
Lying that he's blind to bilk a fortune out of Social Security. And what about these hikers using handicap parking permits that aren't theirs? For a better parking space, we're swooping in with a sting.
Obviously, you were not disabled.
Even her dog's embarrassed. So sit back for an all-new 2020. A few of our favorite stings. Here now, Elizabeth Vargas and David Muir.
Good evening. Here on 2020, we've taken you inside murder-for-hire plots before, men and women trying to get rid of their enemies. But tonight here, an all-new sting operation, and this one just might top them all because our cameras are right there from the very start.
That's right. You are actually going to see it all in real time as it unfolds. Every bizarre detail of a woman facing trial for murder, trying to bump off the key witness in her case. And she wants proof that the witness is dead. Matt Gutman is there for the sting that played out in the swamp.
For any predator, this lush vegetation, camouflaged by murky brown water at the very edge of the Florida Everglades, is exquisite terrain, especially to dispose of someone you just killed. This may look like the site of a bloody murder scene, but hold on, folks, this is not what it seems. And what is about to happen to the victim is the key to a twisted tale of betrayal and revenge.
It is one of the craziest and bizarre murders I've ever studied.
All right, so Augie, let's come over here.
See, these guys are not from the coroner's office. They're an elite squad of Broward County Sheriff's officers called the Viper Unit. They've given 2020 unprecedented access to this elaborate sting designed to foil a murder plot against this woman, Maria Calderon, who's just become one of the Walking Dead. How does it feel to rise from the dead? To understand the story of this photo, start by taking a look at this photo. That's Maria back in happier times with her bosom buddy, Jacqueline Luongo.
We care for each other, yes.
I guess it's not so common that someone who cares for another person would want them dead. That must hurt.
Yeah.
Maria makes ends meet by working in a restaurant. But Jackie is having money trouble. That is, until she makes a special arrangement with this woman, Pat Vivieros, one of the countless retirees who decide to live out their golden years in the sun-drenched splendor of South Florida.
She was very funny and loving. She loved animals. If you ever needed her, if you were in a jam or whatever, she would be there for you.
Pat was living off her pension and an annuity from a life insurance policy worth $50,000. She'd swing by the local bank to pick up her regular checks, and police say when Jackie figured this out, visions of money and murder started dancing in her head.
When you have no money, no apartment, no gas for your car, $50,000, in her opinion, was worth more than Pat's life. She exchanged Pat's life for $50,000.
This past August 28th, Vivieros disappeared.
She hadn't been contacted on the phone for almost a week.
But wait, a woman matching Pat's description is later seen at this bank trying to cash Pat's most recent check. Then, for reasons still unknown, Jackie has a revealing conversation with her old friend Maria.
She said that Pat was dead.
Pat was dead?
Yes.
Did you realize that it was a confession when she told you?
Yes.
Why did Jacqueline spill the beans to Maria?
She thought she could trust Maria.
But if Jacqueline thinks her friend is loyal enough to help her get away with murder, she's profoundly mistaken. Instead, Maria calls the cops, telling them Jackie can be found behind the wheel of this banged-up Toyota Solara. Pretty big break.
Yeah, it was. Once that tag is run, the alert's coming back to a vehicle that we're looking for, potentially somebody involved in a homicide that we need to interview.
Cops, including veteran Broward County homicide detective John Curcio, head straight to Pat's garden apartment.
There was no ransacking. It was just the officer, going in the closet is what found her in a garment bag, and she was in an advanced state of decomposition.
Sign of strangulation, pillow?
Well, her head was entirely encased in tape.
Like mummified?
That'd be a good description.
We still don't know how many days she sat, decaying, decomposing in that closet. Think about it.
She just didn't deserve it. I mean, that's just the bottom line.
The coroner would officially say Pat died of asphyxiation. Jacqueline is tracked to this cheap motel and arrested. Her body, cops claim, shows signs of a struggle, as well as evidence of some criminally mediocre tattoo work. Curcio says he knows Jackie did it, and why.
Hide the victim's body as long as possible and keep on accessing withdrawals from the life insurance policy. She's actually purchased a wig so that if she's attempting to cash checks, she's a blonde female rather than a brunette.
Remember that bank video? Guess who? So she's impersonating the person she killed.
She's impersonating the person she killed whose checks she's trying to cash.
Jacqueline Luongo puts on a wig to look like Patricia. That's video the jury will certainly appreciate.
New details on a disturbing discovery in Deerfield Beach.
As the bizarre murder makes the local news,
the sheriff's office has arrested a woman they say killed her roommate and then tried to hide her body.
Jackie is charged with murder. But Jackie decides to ignore her right to remain silent. Instead, cops say that from behind the walls and concertina wire of the Broward County Jail, Jacqueline Luongo begins concocting a diabolical legal strategy.
She was actively soliciting within her cell a group of people. Does anyone have anyone who could help me remove a witness?
Craig Brown runs the Viper unit. He says one of their jailhouse informants has tipped them off. Jacqueline is planning another homicide.
Yeah,
I feel like you'd want to keep that kind of thing secret.
You'd be surprised. You'd think that, but you know what? There's got nothing but time, and our suspect in this case was actively seeking to anyone who would listen. Hey, do you know anyone who may be able to help me take out a witness?
That witness? Who else? Jacqueline's old friend and confidant, Maria Calderon. What could possibly cause this woman to want you dead so badly?
Because in her twisted mind, she thought that with no witness, there was going to be no case and she can walk out.
Now the Viper unit swings into action, and the sting is on.
Hello, this is a free call from an inmate at North Broward Detention Center.
The informant puts Jackie on the phone. She thinks she's been hooked up with a bona fide hitman named Neil. At lunch, no less, enjoying some of South Florida's best conch chowder.
What's up, Jackie?
Hey, Neil. Hey, how's it going?
But this guy's really one of Craig's guys. That's why we can't show you his face.
You said you want to call somebody?
Yeah. Well, what I wanted to talk to you about first is that I had some money in my property.
As Neil finishes his meal, the caller orders off the menu. One dead Maria Calderon served cold. The negotiations begin.
So you feel comfortable and you know things can be done right? I'll do half up front and half when it's done. So you know you're getting what you want.
Okay.
And, we talked about 2 and 2 though, right? I thought it was 4.
The exact amount is $3,900. That's how much I have in there.
Okay, so all right, call it 4. So do 2 up front and the rest when it's done.
Okay.
The deal is sealed, and apparently so was Maria's fate. For just under $4,000, one murder coming right up. And Neil adds one final touch.
When it's done, I was going to show you some pictures so you know that it's done.
Okay.
But you're not going to see it on the news, so I'll take some pictures and you can see the pictures so you know it's done before I get the other half.
The Viper unit is playing its mark like a Stradivarius. And before the music stops, Jackie will face a fake hitman, a fake lawyer, and a fake corpse.
Kind of a crazy thing to have to do, right?
And a very real reckoning with justice.
I just love it when a killer's plan all fits together.
Stay with us.
2020 returns with a few of our favorite stings. Once again, Matt Gutman.
It's just another ho-hum perfect day of fresh air and ocean along Florida's Atlantic coast. This is where Jacqueline Luongo yearns to breathe free. Instead, she's doing morning calisthenics inside the Broward County Jail, charged and held for the murder of her roommate Pat Vivieros, and police say her South Florida crime spree is far from over.
It's all or nothing for Jacqueline.
From jail, she's been trying to hire a hitman to take out the state's prime witness, her former friend, Maria Calderone.
I think Jacqueline's mindset was, if I remove this witness, there's no one to keep me in jail.
But the Broward County Undercover Viper unit has hatched a plot of its own. First, an undercover cop posing as Neil the hitman goes to meet Jacqueline in jail. He has to be sure the dastardly plot is real.
How confident were you when you were going in there that you were actually going to get her?
I wasn't sure what to expect. We've spoken multiple times up to this point. She knew I was coming, so I was pretty confident that it was going to go the way that we wanted.
When I leave you here today, it'll be the last time I talk to you until it's done. Okay, so you're 100%. 200. Okay.
While his undercover camera rolls, he jots down the details every hitman needs.
Short brown hair, Hispanic, 200 pounds. Okay.
The game is afoot.
I plan on doing it Saturday night. Call me Saturday night. I'll let you know. Yes, we're good.
I mean, who would imagine a defendant tries to order up a hitman like she's ordering a pizza behind bars?
Not knowing whether Luongo contracted other hitmen to kill Maria, the deputies move quickly. We are there the night they go to brief her on the situation, which they insisted on doing off camera.
All right, so we just left Maria. What did she say?
She's in, surprisingly enough. She wants to cooperate. I think she understands how serious it is, and she's going to cooperate 100%.
Were you surprised?
Yeah, I thought it would take a lot more convincing.
To have a murder, you need a dead body. Just hours after meeting Jacqueline,
I'll just tape it together like that.
Our fake hitman and the Viper team have a plan to fake Maria's death, involving a swamp, duct tape, and a bullet hole.
Do you want a black eye? And some bruises, or he may be on.
This has got to look authentic. So the Broward Sheriff's Office hires a professional makeup artist.
And you want to make it look like she has been shot, but it's not too fresh.
Right, a little bit of a beating before we got to this point. Now let's do her hands. She'll have duct tape over her mouth. So she was taken from someplace else, brought here, and shot here.
So is that a specific color that's just meant to be blood, or can it be used?
It's called real blood.
It's called real blood. It's kind of a crazy thing to have to do, right?
Oh, yeah.
Stage your own death.
After that quick visit to Marlboro Country,
we'll let Maria do the blood.
Maria is ready for her close-up.
So they're applying even more blood right now. The whole idea here is to make this murder for hire look as convincing as possible. And right now, I gotta say that Maria looks pretty much like a corpse. There is a gunshot wound to the temple, forehead, an exit wound on the other side, dirt on her shirt, her pants, her hands are bound, and of course she's got that duct tape on her mouth. You've staged deaths before.
Yeah.
Put your legs this way. Close your mouth a little, Maria.
You've staged murders before.
Yeah.
How do people generally react when they have to stage their own murder?
We anticipate the blood draining from their face, like, oh my God, I'm shocked. I can't believe someone I know, is making an attempt on my life. And am I in any fear? Is the person in any fear? We didn't get that in this particular case.
In fact, Maria seems unfazed.
All right. If Jacqueline were here, what would you say to her?
Looks pretty good, right?
Yeah.
The Viper team now has grisly photos to convince Jacqueline they've just killed a girl named Maria.
This is probably what I'll show her tomorrow.
But would a real hitman risk a return visit to the jail? Probably not. So Neil tells Jacqueline he needs to leave town, and he's sending this lawyer in his place.
So what's going on right now is they're trying to make sure that these 2 cameras that are going to be hidden on our undercover lawyer here are not going to be too conspicuous, and that takes a little bit of work here. The goal is to get clean video and make sure that nobody else notices.
Jackie ambles into the meeting nonchalantly. The lawyer makes a nervous introduction.
I'm so sorry I bothered you. I've been trying to track you down all day. I was on my way home. You know, I don't like doing this type of stuff, but Neil is, well, he's Neil. He wanted me to have you right now. He gives me very specific instructions.
The instructions? First, review the envelope with the ghastly murder photos.
Did she react at all?
At first, she was kind of shaky when she started reading the note. And she opened up the second, third pages, you know, she's kind of looking at the pictures and she's kind of nodding her head and just like a...
Acknowledgement?
Yeah, she definitely, yep, looks good.
All right, perfect.
Wow.
Then sign off on them, literally. The cops want to make sure they have a case beyond any doubt.
It's a way for him just to verify that you saw the pictures.
Oh, okay, sure.
Can you help me out with that?
Yeah, sure.
Oh my God, you're such a lifesaver. Look, this guy scares the shit out of me, so...
No remorse? I mean, any emotion at all?
Other than maybe relief. She's not upset about a person losing their life one bit.
Alright, so I wrote her name on all the pages.
No visible signs of being upset at all.
I think that's what's most shocking is that she looked at those pictures, which are totally grisly and gory.
Right.
A person who was shot in the head being held by her hair. It didn't blanch, didn't stumble.
This is someone who you had a relationship with, you were close with. And to have no effect, you know, whatsoever, I think it really shows the mindset of the criminal. It says, I really don't care about anyone else. I'm just worried about my freedom and trying to beat my charge.
Hello?
Jackie.
Afterwards, Jackie even calls her hitman to thank him for a job well done.
Hey, how's it going?
How did it go? Did he show you the pictures?
It was good. Yeah, I saw what he showed me and everything looked good.
Okay, are you happy?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
I'm more satisfied customer.
When Luongo calls the hitman from the jail to tell him what a great job he did, it's like she's giving him a review on Yelp.
Jackie is positive that with Maria gone, she'll beat the rap.
Do you think that's going to help?
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah, because that was the only person that was going to say anything.
Okay. All right. Well, if you're happy, I'm happy.
I'm definitely happy.
But surprise, surprise, just 2 weeks later, Jackie is slapped with new attempted murder charges.
Solicitation to commit murder and tampering with a witness.
Combined with her previous charge in the murder of Pat Vivieros, if convicted, Jackie is facing the death penalty. She declined 2020's request for an interview. Maybe after getting bitten by the Viper unit, she's decided she's done enough talking for now.
When you put 12 in the box, this case it's like tied up with a bow and sitting on top of the Christmas tree, for Pete's sake, for the prosecution to just take down and hand to the jury. It is extremely rare to be handed a case like this on a silver platter.
So, if you heard that case as a juror, what would you have to say about Jackie and her crazy plot? David and I are live tweeting throughout tonight's program, so let us know. Use the hashtag ABC2020.
A lot of opinions out there, and you can join the conversation at Facebook as well. And Elizabeth and I will be right back.
Next, we've got him in our sights. A guy who's driving, but lying that he's blind to collect a fortune in disability.
So you don't drive at all, is that right?
A tale of checks, lies, and videotape.
Why did you lie in the interview?
When 2020 returns.
Most of you have been feeling the cold all week, and so have we, when Rebecca Jarvis went stomping through the snow to find out the truth about a man who's been pretending to be blind in order to cash in big on disability. But there is one thing he actually was blind to: the hidden cameras set up to sting him in the act.
We're at approximately 8:03 a.m. conducting surveillance on Lawrence Pop.
Following Lawrence Pop around can be dangerous work, because no matter what, you're in his blind spot. At least that's what the Milwaukee businessman led people to believe when he was claiming he was too blind to drive. But now all eyes are on him as federal agents tail Pop. Larry had been collecting Social Security disability payments for his blindness for years, all the while living the high life, traveling the world and spending like there's no tomorrow.
Lawrence Pop is walking towards the Social Security office.
He's here today to make sure those payments keep on coming. He ditches the car a block away so as not to attract attention.
Mr. Pop, can you come here, please?
In fact, by the time his interview with a government claims rep begins, there's no mention of any car.
So you don't drive at all, is that right?
What Pop can't see is that federal agents have set him up in a simple but elegant sting.
Did you need help from others?
Yes. Listen as the disarming claims rep cleverly extracts details about his painful life without sight.
So you can't really read anything that's unmagnified.
Right, no.
You can't do almost anything that you used to do.
My life's just that less changed radically.
But the tape reveals one thing Lawrence Pop is very good at: lying.
Do you declare, under penalty of perjury, that the information you've given me is true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
I have seen tons and tons of people like this in my career.
Bob Keene is an ABC News consultant and a private eye whose weapon of choice is a video camera. We asked Keene to give us the tale of the tape.
People in Pop's position get comfortable. They get comfortable to the point of they're getting away with it, so I'm going to get away with more. I'm going to get away with more. And they're going to keep trying raising that bar. He took it to the extreme.
Pop actually did have legitimate vision impairment back in 2004 when he signed up for disability benefits, but he promised to notify the department if his medical condition improved or if he were to get a job or generate income. Well, his eyes did get better, and he generated plenty of income, but he decided to keep those details to himself.
Can you use a computer?
Well, no, because what happens is that when I start doing that, my eyes get very strained and then I get a lot of pain.
But his coworkers saw a very different side of Larry. His then VP, Dave Hartlerode, says Larry was a fixture at the office, despite supposedly being unable to work.
And what would he do at work?
Basically working from his computer.
On his computer?
Email correspondence with people within our industry.
How did he get to work when he was telling Social Security that he couldn't drive and he couldn't see?
All I know that he was driving to work.
He drove himself?
Yes.
Meanwhile, investigators say Larry was living large. His car spotted outside the Milwaukee Athletic Club, where memberships cost thousands of dollars a year. There were also trips to Italy, Florida, the Caymans. He even spent time driving a motorboat towing water skiers around a lake.
Larry is a person that likes money, wants to always be in charge.
Oh, yes. Then there's the ex-wife, Kimberly Pop, who confirms Larry's lavish spending but said the same rules did not apply to her.
I was on a strict budget. We had nothing joint together. He would go out and buy cars without me knowing.
You know, about this.
Not only could he overspend, he could overact, at times appearing to tear up at the Social Security office in a truly Oscar-worthy performance.
This is kind of reliving it, so I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't mean to do that to you.
It's got to be done.
Even Pop's own lawyer didn't buy his act.
Is he really crying?
He was definitely not telling the truth here, and he knew he was not telling the truth. And was part of it an act? Perhaps.
So what do you think it was about Larry's case that tipped him off?
Well, I know what it was. You had a ex-wife who who dropped the dime.
Right.
Yes, Kimberly is indirectly responsible for helping to take down the bogus blind man. The tipping point when the IRS came after her, claiming she owed thousands in back taxes. It turns out Lawrence Pop had applied for benefits not just for himself, but for the entire family and pocketed every dime.
Ultimately, you were the one who turned him in.
I wasn't going to take the fall for something he was doing that was illegal. I didn't have $13,000 to pay the government. I didn't collect $13,000. So why should I take the fall for something he did?
In all, the feds say Larry fraudulently collected hundreds of thousands of dollars in government payments. Prosecutors say it was time to call the blind man's bluff.
It is entitlement. It's about the continuation of a lifestyle that you become used to, again, without justification, both medically and legally.
In January of last year, justice caught up with Lawrence Pop. He was sentenced to a year in jail and had to pay the stolen money back.
If he hadn't been caught red-handed, do you think he'd still be bilking the system?
Absolutely. It's his nature that he thinks he can get away with it, so he's going to do it.
Larry was recently released from prison, and just yesterday, on a frigid Milwaukee morning, he gave 2020 a chilly reception.
Hi there, sir. Rebecca Jarvis, ABC News. Are you sorry for stealing that money from taxpayers? Why did you lie in the interview? Why did you lie in the interview, sir?
What would you say to anyone who is lying right now, who's taking disability insurance but doesn't really have that?
Eventually you're going to get caught, and then you will have to pay the price, because what comes around goes around.
Next, healthy hikers feeling the burn in more ways than one when we catch them illegally using handicap parking permits.
Obviously, you were not disabled.
Her friends getting some unscheduled exercise, running away from our state when 2020 returns.
Millions of Americans will be headed out this weekend, going to the mall or the grocery store. But worse than the weather, the cold, will be finding that parking spot. What about those people who use handicap parking permits even though they have no disability? How do they explain themselves with cameras rolling? Jim Avila catching them in the act.
It's dawn in the car capital of the world, Los Angeles. And we're on the hunt for handicapped parking cheaters. We're with undercover investigators for the California Department of Motor Vehicles, dressed as harmless pedestrians as they set up a sting for mooching motorists.
This car here is something you're looking at?
Right. This SUV is parked outside one of LA's chicest hotspots. No, not a nightclub, but the Runyon Canyon hiking trails through the Hollywood Hills. Parking near the gate is legal only for nearby residents or the disabled with parking placards to prove it.
And we ran the placard. It comes back to a male subject. And one of our investigators observed two females walking out of the car. So there wasn't any man in the car? There was no man in the car.
He suspects that the women still off on their hike are using someone else's handicap placard to score this prime parking spot. Everyone else finds parking in the streets below, then hike up the couple of blocks to the trail entrance. Disabled parking abuse might seem like a small issue of trust, but it does get people everywhere riled up. While visiting a restaurant, Kenny Mills and his wife Julie found a police car parked in the handicapped space. No emergency in sight. Julie posted it on Facebook, where it quickly went viral. The online outrage pouring in.
I would gladly walk and give them my spot.
Despite the obvious bright blue paint and giant wheelchair logo, the cop got no more than a talking to by his boss, since the space lacked a warning sign announcing it's illegal. Back in LA, that black SUV is still parked an hour later.
Copy, 2 women. We're rolling.
The hikers finally return from their workout, and the investigators reveal themselves. The driver says the placard belongs to her handicapped husband. By law, the person it's issued to needs to be in the car for it to be valid.
Parking placard. So you're using your card on a parking tree where you need to permit the car. And equipment that this belongs to is not your vehicle.
comes the citation book. The fine could end up as high as $700.
Hello, how are you? So I'm with ABC 2020, ma'am. I wanted to ask you why you were using the placard to park here and go hiking. Obviously, you were not disabled.
Her poor pooch seemed to share in the embarrassment. Her passenger didn't want to talk either, but instead ducked away and got in some unscheduled exercise.
And these citations are misdemeanor citations for
So it's a crime.
It's a criminal activity.
Vito Scattaglia is the Deputy Chief of Investigations for the California DMV. His investigators have been to Runyon Canyon several times, and so the number of outlaw parkers has dropped off. This neighbor is grateful.
Before the cops start showing up, you had a sea of blue placards?
Oh, yeah, it's amazing. We could have 7, 8, 9 cars on this street alone.
He doesn't want his identity revealed for fear of hostile hikers striking back, since he helped bring attention to the rampant abuse in the first place, reporting it on the website handicapfraud.org.
If they're coming here for exercise, park down there legitimately and get your exercise walking up this hill.
But despite the public shamings and tickets, the days we watched, there were plenty of hikers who did not get the message, including this guy driving the SUV. A handicap placard in his window, he parks illegally and hits the hiking trails with pit bull and passengers. While they're gone, the investigators check his placard and find it registered to a much older male. The couple returns 40 minutes later to an unwanted welcome.
You know it's illegal to use somebody else's placard.
On top of the fine, the actual owner of the placard, his grandfather, will have to reapply now to get a new one.
This time we're confiscating this placard. Hi, I'm Jim Avila from ABC News. So I'm just wondering, you're a healthy guy.
Yeah.
Why would you use a handicap sticker to park to go running?
Handicap is for handicap spots.
Are you a handicap person?
I'm not in a handicap spot, am I?
Right, you're on the street that requires either a permit or a
I'm
handicap.
not in a handicap spot. That's what you should be really concerned about, is people parking in handicap spots, misusing a handicap.
So you've never used the placard to park in a handicap spot?
Never. Why would I park in a handicap spot?
Why would you have a placard on your car?
This is my mother's car. It's not my car.
But you just happen to use it
I'm
today.
I'm borrowing her car, yeah.
Anybody ever just say, I'm sorry, you're right?
We do run into some of those, but for the most part, they're pretty vocal with us.
Yeah.
But we've had several physical altercations on these type of operations.
What they do here are plenty of excuses. This guy wasn't hiking. He told officers he was using a handicap placard to pick up his grandmother. But they called his bluff and followed him to the front door, where he turned back and admitted the truth.
Wasn't even her house, huh?
No.
So after giving up the game, investigators issued a citation and confiscated his placard.
We're from ABC News. We're wondering why you were using the placard. You don't look to be handicapped.
I am handicapped.
You are? Yes. Is that your placard?
Yes.
Why did they take it from you then?
Final stop for these violators? A judge, a fine, possibly community service. The good news is there's now a better option. Hikers can drop off their cars with a new valet service, then hit the trails. The car will be waiting for you when you return. And at just $5 plus tip, it's a lot cheaper than that ticket.
Next, we've set up a sting house with hidden cameras to sniff out the truth about those bedbug sniffing dogs.
Did you find bedbugs?
Can't be filmed.
You were going to charge her $2,500.
What's getting cleaned out? Your money or your mattress? When 2020 returns.
Now for a different kind of murder for hire, hiring an exterminator to get rid of bed bugs. And in this case, the exterminator has 4 legs. They're canines, usually beagles. But what's the truth about those bed bug sniffing dogs? Paula Ferris put up some hidden cameras to find out.
Did you travel for the holidays? Maybe you saw your bestie in Baltimore, grandma in Grand Rapids, or were vacationing in Venice. Regardless, you were in someone else's room, sleeping in someone else's bed. Unbeknownst to you, you might have picked up the world's nastiest hitchhiker. Cimex flexularis, the dreaded bed bug. If they weren't in your house before, well, they might be now.
Bed bugs are bad. You don't want to mess around with this.
You only need to sit in a chair that's got bed bugs for 20 minutes and they'll be on you.
As the owner of Town & Country Pest Solutions in Rochester, New York, Matt Fabry spends a lot of time going home to home trying to eliminate people's bed bugs. And for many exterminators, their best ally in this fight is man's best friend.
We were one of the first exterminators that actually purchased a trained bed bug dog.
Hey, where's Roscoe? He's working!
Of course, you've seen them on TV.
Roscoe the bed bug dog inspects everywhere.
The bed bug sniffing dog has become the first line of counter-offense, and it's no myth. Dogs with their superior sense of smell really can be trained to sniff out bed bugs. Still, a study published just last month found that trained dogs smell bed bugs where there are none about 15% of the time. Matt knows that the nose can lead you astray.
You just want to make sure that that dog is really exposing a live bed bug because you can pay a lot of money for false alerts.
Here's the thing. Matt says most dogs get rewarded with doggy treats.
Good girl.
So there's the potential for a canine conflict of interest.
If he's really hungry, he's going to do false alerts and go like this and bark, and there won't be a bed bug there.
So we at 2020 decided to put some super sniffers to the test. This 4-floor townhouse in Brooklyn, New York gave us what we needed because we want to know, how will bed bug sniffing dogs and their handlers perform under real life conditions?
There's a lot of inexperienced technicians. They don't get paid enough, whatever. They never get good training.
In fact, the National Pest Management Association itself lists strengthening the public's perception as one of its goals.
Our industry is filled with professionals that are committed to customer satisfaction, and certainly we do recommend that homeowners do their background research, ask for references.
So we do our research and bring in two renowned entomologists, Lou Sorkin and Paul Bello, to first confirm the home is bed bug free.
And we know that there's no bed bugs here.
Then we rig the home with 5 hidden cameras. The stakes are high. If your home is diagnosed with bed bugs, look out. Treatment can cost thousands and disrupt a home for weeks.
It's more prudent to confirm that you have an infestation before you take that kind of action than to just do it simply because a dog alerted.
So with cameras rolling, we watch as 10 different companies and their prized pooches go to work. Labradors, Beagles, Jack Russells. The first several teams come and go. Not a single dog finding evidence of bed bugs, which is great because there are none. But then we meet this cuddly guy. To protect his identity, let's call him Mikey. Mikey smells bugs on the couch, on the chair, and on the bed. With each hit, the handler rewards Mikey with a treat. He's excited, but our homeowner wants to know more.
You don't do a further inspection?
No.
You rely on your dog?
Yes.
If you had to say, like, what percentage of the time she's accurate, what would you say?
A percentage?
Yeah.
I'd say 90%. So definitely this room would have to be treated.
Basically the whole room?
Yes.
Hold it right there. Our experts say Mikey is wrong and no treatment is necessary because had the company bothered to look, they still would not have found any bed bugs. We showed that footage to entomologist Lou Sorkin.
They have to understand that maybe their dog is playing them and just wants a reward.
The dog is playing the exterminator?
Yes.
So we crawl out of the woodwork to ask our dog handler some friendly questions. Paula Ferris with ABC in 2020. How are you?
That cannot be filmed.
Did you find bed bugs?
Can't be filmed. Sorry.
If you were going to charge her $2,500. Okay, maybe he was just erring on the side of caution by recommending treatment. But then, double whammy. We meet this dog we'll call Scout. Scout, too, alerts to bed bugs.
So he's picking up the scent of live bed bugs or viable eggs.
So, is your dog telling me that I have bed bugs? Is that what your dog is saying to me?
He's saying it to me, yep.
This handler seems to do everything by the book. He even brings in a second dog.
We're going to check with the second dog.
But even the second dog gets it wrong and detects bed bugs. How to than the scent, the exterminator is eager to find an actual bug for our homeowner.
You're gonna show me the bug?
I'll find it for you.
Really?
Yeah.
You're gonna promise me you're gonna find me a bug based upon your dog?
If they say there is.
He searches and searches, but no luck. So what will he say to our homeowner?
I'm not gonna lie to you and say, yeah, I found the dog and the bag bug here, but 100% I relate on that. I will highly recommend it for
Huh. With 2 dogs alerting but no visual evidence of bed bugs, this exterminator still recommends his company's expensive treatment. Believe it or not, that actually complies with industry guidelines. Still, we want to hear from him.
Paula Ferris from ABC News in 2020. How are you? We brought in 2 well-respected entomologists. They did not find any proof of bed bugs. What did you find?
I didn't find anything, but the dog alert.
So no bed bugs. Why not lay a trap to find proof of life before you recommend an expensive treatment?
That's options. I'm not trying to steal money from you or anything like that.
Okay, anybody can make a mistake, but after 2 days of hidden camera work, we find 4 out of 11 dogs are in the doghouse. They get it wrong. The lesson?
Make sure that they show you that bed bug and don't just let them tell you that it's there and we can't see it.
So when the bug man cometh,